Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back. We finished up the spar in the last episode, and you can see behind us we got the last of the wing molds down, and we're just starting on that. So we got 2 more wing skins to build, and then we can start actually assembling the wings. So we're getting this one cleaned up, getting it ready for a layup, and man, we'll just keep cranking. All right, took it outside and scrubbed the PVA off it, and we'll see how much cleanup it needs. I don't think it's going to need a whole lot. Probably just a quick pass with the buffer, and then we can start waxing. I really don't think I'm going to sand anything. It looks very nice. So let's get it back inside and get it dried off, see how it looks. All right, the mold surface cleaned up nice. Not very much work at all. I didn't sand it at all. I just used a foam pad. This is a cutting pad from Harbor Freight, and a little bit of McGuire's cutting compound. And I might have spent all of 10 minutes on that. So basically I just wanted to clean the PVA off and shine it up just slightly. So that is plenty good enough to mold. So I'll start laying in my jogle tapes, and then we can start waxing it up. All right, I started laying down my 10 mil pipe tape along the leading edge for the jogle. If you remember from way back when I was doing the other skins, that leaves a step for an external seam. Once the wing is joined, I can wrap an external seam around the leading edge. So that's just leaving a little bit of space for that carbon wrap. So I just got the last little bit to do here at the root. And I'm just using this Orbit 10 mil PVC pipe tape. It works great. Each layer of tape is equivalent to roughly 2 layers of carbon thick. So I put down 2 layers of tape, which will give me enough room for 4 layers of carbon for an external wrap. And I just use a little bit of spray glue to hold that in place. And again, I use the 3M 71, which is specifically for composites. If you're doing model airplanes or something like that, you could use 3M 77 or 90 or whatever. But this stuff is specifically designed to dissolve in the epoxy. So since my butt is going to be in this, I'm doing the right thing. This is the first time I've actually used the 71. I've always used 77 or 90 because I've always built, UAVs and model airplanes. So this one kind of matters. So I'm not taking any chances. Anyway, I'm going to get that last little piece in along here, and then I'm going to clean up a little bit of residue from when I was spraying the glue in. I'll clean it up with acetone, and then I'm going to start waxing, and we'll get ready to lay up the skin. All right, now for the boring part. I just put a coat of wax on. I'll let that sit for, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and then start buffing it off. You don't want to let it sit too long, or it's a royal pain in the ass to buff it off, but you do want to let it sit a little bit so that it starts to harden up. And then I won't bore you with this whole process, but it's going to get, probably 6 coats of wax on and off, and I'll wait at least 30 minutes between coats, and then we'll get PVA on it, and then we'll put primer on it. So we'll probably skip over all that. Maybe I'll show you what it looks like after it's waxed, because that's another thing that's pretty satisfying, is seeing the nice high gloss in the mold. What's up, everybody, from a different location. As you can tell, we're now in the hangar. We decided that since the wing molds are out here now, it actually makes sense that we're going to have to eventually bring the wing and the fuselage out here to integrate anyway, but there's enough space right here to start assembling the wing. So Ryan and I are going to start setting up the molds and start fitting the spar, and we can do stuff like that actually before the other skins are done. So let's get going. All right, we have the wings just roughly set in place here. I still need to trim the skins back flush even with the center of the mold there, so they're not going to clamp completely tight there, but that's just a rough sort of idea where the dihedral angle is going to go. So now we're going to set the spar in there, and then once the spar in there, we can raise and lower the tips to get the dihedral angle correct. So this is all going to have to come back apart again, but we're just getting a rough idea of how it's going to have to sit. All right, this is rough placement. It's all got to come back apart, but the spar is sitting in the correct location. dihedraless set. I'm gonna have to come back and I'll obviously support the wing molds mid-span. You can't leave them span that far, they'll definitely sag. But so far everything looks really good. It all lined up nice. Spar fits in there nice and tight where it's supposed to, no gaps. I'm pretty happy about that. It's kind of cool. This is the first time I've kind of seen what the wing is gonna look like all together. That's kind of exciting. So, progress. Back in the home shop now, working on a lower wing skin. And for those of you that don't remember, what you're seeing here is I have a couple layers of 20 mil pipe tape put down, and then over the top of that I have this peel ply. And what that does is that leaves a little joggle in the skin so that when I close the upper and lower skins together, it leaves me space to put a leading edge wrap. So that's what that is. The mold has been waxed, and I sprayed PVA on it, I don't know, maybe 2 hours ago. So you can see the surface is nice and shiny, ready to go. I'm actually getting ready to mix up some primer right now. I'm gonna spray some primer on it. And then once that's cured, I will cut the rest of the material and we'll get going on a layup. Primer is in and cured, and now I've got the Divinycell core all cut and fit. And you can see I've got the edges beveled down to a nice sharp point, so that when the upper layer of carbon goes on, there'll be no gap there. And I've also gone around upper and lower with my woodpecker and perforated holes. And that just gives the surface a little bit of porosity, lets the resin kind of stick to the foam a little bit better, just adds a little bit better adhesion. So all that's left to do now is to cut the carbon off the roll and drag all the layers out and roll that up and get it ready to go, and we'll be laying up here soon. All right, outer carbon layers are in and the foam is in, and I'm doing a poor job filming because I'm here by myself, so I'm just doing this layup all by my lonesome. But anyway, it's going okay. So I'm gonna roll the inner carbon in, and then we'll get it bagged up, but so far so good. All right, one in the bag. This one looks good. So we'll let that cook overnight and pop it out. Only one to go. All popped out of the mold. Everything looks great. You can see my nice little joggle with the peel plied lip here for when I join. And guys, this is why I primer in the mold. I don't know if you can see here, but let's just take a quick look at that finish. That's right out of the mold, no prep. Saves a ton of time filling in pinholes and surface imperfections and things like that. So if you're doing any molding at home, it's absolutely worth the time to either primer or even paint right directly in the mold. It just saves you so much work on the other end. And that wing skin weighs just a shade over 9 pounds untrimmed. So super happy with that. And that's it for this one. We'll see you in the next episode.